Alrighty, the attendee list has leveled off. Want to thank everybody for being here. As said, we'll move through the weekly business update. And without further ado, I'll turn this over to Jeff Walczak. As always, if there's any questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A so we can get to those and cover them with everybody at the end. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Mr. Ken. And as always, we need to remind everybody the eTruckBiz is not endorsed, sponsored, or anything else by FedEx Corporation. And Becca has a few words for us.
Thank you. So eTruckBiz is the leader in contractor support, and we do this with our business growth and support system. This is the best-in-class support program for multi-facility service providers. So how we can offer that support is off of our 3 different programs that we have. The first one is Admin IQ. So this is going to free up your team from the revenue-producing work. We always say that running your payroll and recruiting drivers, pushing them through First Advantage, it's all necessary, but it's not producing any revenue for your business. So let us take that off of your plate. You would have your own assigned person with the role to take on all of these tasks for you so that your team can focus on producing revenue tasks. So Performance IQ is another program, and this is going to increase efficiency through the engineering, performance, and accountability. So we have the operational monitoring. This is going to be managing the KPIs and then daily execution coaching for that part. We have driver visibility, delivery metrics, efficiency, so that we can spot problems early on. And then those repeatable standards, consistent execution across all facilities. We want them all operating the same efficient way. And then there is also Budget IQ as the third program to go into this. And this is going to be financial visibility and control for smarter growth. So you'll have real-time financial tracking, engineered budgets, and then that multi-facility clarity where you can compare locations, spot weak performance, plan expansion responsibly. So if you want any information or have any questions on those programs, please let me know. You can always scan this QR code and get scheduled, or you can just send me an email, becca@eTruckBiz.com, with any questions or to get scheduled as well. And then, so June 3rd, we are going to be in San Antonio, Texas for the Network 2.0 Information and Best Practice Seminar with Impact Solutions. If you are in the area or you're wanting to attend, you can scan this QR code to get registered, and then we will have more of our locations to display here soon, but that's going to be June 3rd at 3:30 in San Antonio, Texas. And I did want to announce as well, we are going to be holding a new owner/new investor seminar. So this is going to be eTruckBiz, Impact Solutions, Marsh, and Motive all combined. This will be in Huntsville, Alabama. This will be the first half of September. We don't have the dates exactly yet, but if you want, any additional information as it comes, feel free to email me back at eTruckBiz.com. I can get you on the registration list and so forth, but we will be sending out more data or more information on that as well as it comes.
Okay, some other news. First of all, I don't know if you guys are watching this or not, but the stock has taken another run at 400. I don't know if it's there right now. It made it there earlier today. CNBC got on there. Everybody was talking about the stock, FedEx stock, what's going on. So question is, it's running again. Is something going on? Is the market up? Who knows what's going on? But it's another big run. So I don't know. Who knows? But it's taking a run. Can't see it right here, but it's at near 400 at this point. All right, as we always do, let's look at the volume from last week. Looks like the pickup stops and the vans were very steady. That's good. Steady's good, especially on the vans is good. Because why? Because we can train folks how to do stuff the right way, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Packages on the vans, good. We've got to get that trend going in the right direction. But anyway, that's good. That's good stuff on the vans. On the delivery side, up a little bit more for the volume, just kind of steady, hanging there, just par for the course this time of year. That's good. And then productivity, we dispatched a couple more dispatches. Why? And when we do that, what happens to that productivity?
Ouch, drops. So we're moving so close back to that 100 stops per dispatch. Now we got to climb the mountain again.
All right, we can do it. We get there. Gotta do it. Okay, so many of you know, or maybe you don't know, some of you are on here that we've already talked to for the last several weeks. We've been out there traveling quite a bit, getting in front of a lot of folks, getting to see what's going on in different places. And there's a lot of things going on out there. It appears that running multiple facilities isn't going to be an option anymore. We're going to talk about this. It's likely going to be essential in the new landscape. And the reason we're saying that is because as we go to more and more of these Network 2.0 presentations, there's a lot. It's been surprising how many multiple facility operators have been coming to these sessions. I mean, they were always out there. They've been out there for years and years, but it just seems like it's becoming more and more common that people are being asked to run. If you're running a good operation, they're going to ask you to take over something else somewhere else that somebody couldn't handle it, right? So there's a new question that you probably should be asking at this point. It's the new central strategic dilemma, we'll call it, facing folks right now with Network 2.0. So the first path that you can choose, if it's a choice, you can choose multi-facility growth, right? So multi-facility growth will help you capitalize on the platform or on the business model's scaling capabilities. Used to be, at one time, they had contractors to see how big they could get in a particular operation before they lost control of the operation. So that got kind of crazy. And then the next knee-jerk reaction was to what? Was to scale down operations and say, well, you can only get so far, you can only have so much of the terminal's volume. So they came up with scale, and then that got kind of, well, scale works now, but we don't want to necessarily do it in the future, and back and forth. Well, now I think it's very apparent that what they're doing is they want folks to get to what might be a sweet spot as far as an operating size. And that size is depending on the area, but anywhere from say 2 to maybe 3.5 million. And that's kind of a sweet spot for operating. If you operate an operation less than that, it's tough to make enough money to keep it going, to do all the things you need to do. You get bigger than that, it gets a little hard to control. So it appears that multiple facility folks, people that want to do this, it looks like that's what is happening. Now, the other choice is to protect your margins and control your growth, or to not grow. So in this case, you would maintain profitability and operational stability. You can avoid being overextended and the complexity that being a multi-facility operator brings with it. You can focus on optimizing an existing operation, so it's a little bit lower risk, a more sustainable approach to how you want to look at 2.0 going forward. But there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on each one of your risk tolerance, your capital availability, your management capacity, what the particular market condition is in where they're asking you to take over another operation, and really what your long-term vision of what you want to do is, right? When's the last time you asked yourself, what am I doing? Am I here to grow my operation into something as big as I possibly can? Or am I just happy with my one operation and everything's fine? So network, as most of you know, Network 2.0 is happening right now. For many CSPs, the opportunity is clear. You can expand your footprint and gain access to multi-facility operations that weren't possible before. Again, it takes capital to do this. Do you have it? Do you have access to it, right? There's an administrative strain or overload. We'll talk about that here in a second, but that's something to consider if you want to go multi-facility. You have to think about how you're going to do that. How are you going to keep your service consistent? Because that's what it's all about. That's what you provide service. Service is what happens in your trucks. And then are you going to burn yourself out? Are you already kind of frazzled doing what you're doing, or do you think you can handle more, right? The key insight is multi-facility operations used to be a growth play. Now it's possibly becoming an essential survival and managing tool, or a way to survive and manage risk in this industry. So what multi-facility creates, we already said, an enterprise level opportunity. You should benefit from better productivity across all your operations. So for instance, you shouldn't need to have, let's just for fun say, multiple BCs in multiple operations. It's really not in the settlement model. You can think about it in a new way. This is about shifting from now we've talked about this for years and years and years. If you have one operation and you let things go and you just want to make sure everybody comes to work the next day, well, you probably have a lifestyle business, right? You just want to get by the owner-operator mentality, versus running, if you have more than, say, 2 or 3 operations, you pretty much have an enterprise operation or a transportation company. And the way you run that company is very different than you would run a lifestyle business, right? So, and this was the biggest thing that we've seen as we go to these different places doing those Network 2.0 presentations, is especially multi-facility folks that have multi-facilities now, there's a thought process shift. And we've been talking about this for years, but you can't necessarily give a driver a tablet and say, go get them, Tiger, and just let them do whatever they want to do. Because guess what? If you do that, they will. And doing that's not consistent with the business model, right? You can't not have systems and processes in place that replace drivers. If you can say, well, if I don't let them have the iPad and let them circle all the stops and do whatever they want to do, then they'll quit. That's not going to get it in the new world. In 2.0, it doesn't get it. Now, the good news, like I said, is we've been seeing these people are starting to understand that. We got to do what we got to do when, really, you got to do it. You got time definite stops, you got same day on call pickups. You can't just do whatever you want to do. But the good news is, for sure, we're seeing a thought process shift here, and I think that's really, really good. So what are contractors concerned about, right? Contractors going forward, of course, are concerned about profitability. Will expansion, so if I expand under Network 2.0, will it be profitable expansion? And will it be manageable, right? I'm here to tell you that it's both for a lot of folks. It's profitable and very manageable as long as you have the right things in place. Another thing contractors are concerned about when they think about going multi-facility is, we already said it, but do I have the leadership capacity? Can my current systems and financial visibility support a second facility without hurting the first? So you got your home operation. That's the one that you need to make sure that's the tight ship. Can leave it be and everything will be fine because you're going to go out and do some other things, right? Contractors are also concerned about transition uncertainty. Contractors worry about closures, territory shifts, and changing service and operational expectations. So just because your CSA gets reconfigured before your last contract negotiation or whatnot, I'm here to tell you right now, today, it's not going to be the last time. CSAs probably, as Network 2.0 continues after the first phase to get implemented, CSAs will be reconfigured again. And what's going on right now is probably going to go on 2 or 3 more times before, yes, you will end up with all of the volume on your trucks. So yeah, it's something to think about. Should I scale? Do I want to get bigger? Well, there's also risks of scaling too fast, right? We already kind of said it, but there's capital strain. Do I have enough capital or access to capital to buy new trucks, to get into new operations and screw up for a little while? And most multi-facility folks have figured this out. And that's why our business growth and support system is growing quickly, is because you need to have one admin system or one support system for all of your operations. You don't need to or want to build a new way to do payroll in a new location or another way to do recruiting in another location. You just have one way you do that. And the best way to do it is to outsource it to us so we can take care of that for you so you can worry about the operation, right? The thing that makes you money. Scaling too fast sometimes results in service inconsistency. We heard this a lot in the last several weeks here. Service goes up and down in different buildings for different reasons. You need to make sure that you can provide service consistently through overall your locations. And then, of course, owner burnout. You can't do everything. That's why you have folks doing different things in different, in this case, locations. You just got to make sure they're trained and they're doing what you need them to do. So there is a risk of scaling too fast.
Can I add to that, Jeff? Yeah, the owner burnout, as Jeff said earlier, is make sure you have that one solid operation running. You get the systems and processes in place before you go to that second one. And then, do I have somebody who's talented enough to run that second location? Because I'm probably not going to be there nearly as much as I am in my home location. So you've got to have a strong BC in both locations. Please understand that, because You can't just cover all the sins of the bad operation by the good operation. Monetarily, it won't make sense. And then it quickly could lose that if it doesn't make sense, if you're not operating well. And now all of a sudden, you've got twice the number of vehicles you need, and you're making payments on those vehicles, and you only have half the revenue. So make sure you have those procedures in place and make sure you have the right people in place.
All right, very cool. Now, if you're sitting there right now and you're thinking, well, these guys are saying that I need to think about at least what happens if I need to become a multi-facility operator, multi-facility contractor. What type of contractor am I right now? So you can think about this. So are you a builder, a stabilizer, or a seller? Am I a builder? Do I have reliable financial reporting? Does anybody want to tell me what reliable financial reporting is?
I'll take that.
Okay, yes, sir.
Knowing what your revenue and your cost per dispatch every day on every route is. That would be reliable.
Well, there's your cost, but if you're a Budget IQ client of eTruckBiz, you also get the daily dispatch yield report. And that's the whole ball game right there. That's the scoreboard. That's the whole shoot match. If we're not watching on a per dispatch basis what my revenue generated from a dispatch is, and then minus the cost of what it costs for that particular dispatch, then we don't have any business doing this business because we don't have any idea what's going on. All we know is what the balance is in our checkbook, which if it's going up, that's good. But to fix problems, we got to know where we're bleeding, right? Do you have reliable financial reporting, strong managers, Ken just said that, and operating discipline across operations, right? Do you do the same thing everywhere? That you have to. Does McDonald's build a Big Mac differently in each store? Nope. There's one way they do it, and you have to learn it so that you can make a Big Mac, right? So builders probably will pursue multi-facility growth carefully and with capital planning, utilize enterprise-level tools like the eTruckBiz business growth and support system. I think that's why a lot of these multi-facility folks are coming to our presentations because they want to hear about it. I mean, we've told them about it. A bunch of them are coming on board now. It is very much the way to go multi-facility, doing the same thing, at least administratively, and the back office part of your operation. It is absolutely the way to go. Are you a stabilizer? Are you an owner still trapped in daily firefighting, inconsistent systems, and have a limited margin cushion? So if you're a stabilizer and you want to go multi-facility, you need to tighten operations before expanding. If you want to get bigger and you think you're a little shaky right now, all you got to do is look at your financial results. Do I know what it cost me to make a dispatch? Do I know what it is? Do I think I know? That's not good enough. You have to know, right? And then should you consider being a seller right now? You got a good business, but low appetite for more complexity or transition risks. You may want to improve the story, stabilize results, and prepare for optionality. So think about it. Are you happy doing what you're doing right now? If you are, you can be a builder or a stabilizer. If your life is miserable and FedEx sucks, the worst thing of all time, and everything's bad, everything's always bad, nothing's going to get better, we would just tell you that prepare your exit strategy. This is where it's going to go, folks. It's not the way things have always been are not the way they're going to be. It's just how it is. All right. So ask yourself these 6 questions. Can the business run without you every day? Can it run? Do you have to be there? Does FedEx want you there? Yes, they do. But can it run without you there? A lot of folks have the ability to make their will happen even if they're not there. Do you know your real dispatch economics? Do you have the daily dispatch yield report, and do you watch that? We can tell you that the folks that are on the Budget IQ program, everybody, and I mean everybody, opens that daily dispatch yield report. Maybe not every single day, but it's something like a 75 to 80% open rate. That's awesome. That means you're watching what's going on. That's what you got to do. Do you have management depth for another facility? Do you have some way that you can manage another facility? Do you have a BC that you can move? Do you have a way to watch what's going on in other facilities? Are standard operating procedures standardized across dispatch, driver methods, and recovery. Do you have a way to do everything every day? Do the drivers make up their own way of doing everything every day? If they do, you don't have any standard operating procedures, right? But if you can reliably dispatch folks and they do what they're supposed to do, then maybe you do. That's good. Okay, we already said this before. Do you have liquidity to survive a messy transition? Ask anybody that's gone multi-facility, and every single time they get into another one, not everything goes great when you get started. And when that happens, what does that mean? You're going to spend a couple bucks to fix it, just how it is. And then do your systems transfer across distance and different operating cultures. We've seen that before, have we not, Ken and Bob, where one culture clashes with another one?
Absolutely. And we see people operating. Sometimes they have an hourly model in one operation and they got offered another operation. Well, those employees, of course, you didn't get offered it because it was a great running operation. You got offered because you ran a good operation, and this one's kind of messed up. So you kind of have to limp it along, as Jeff said, and they might be paid by the day. So how do we mix these cultures now? And then how do we overcome the new culture? And as everybody's seen, there's different cultures, FedEx cultures in different facilities. And that's probably the hardest thing to deal with.
Right. So can the way you do it transfer to other places, even though the FedEx culture and maybe the whatever you're taking over culture is wrong? All right. So systems will beat secrets, right? The model, what we're trying to tell you is the model, the business model, it appears to us is headed towards multi-facility operators. And it's not because we made it up, it's because we're seeing it. It's happening in a lot of places. And I'll tell you this, I've been to 4 or 5 different cities all up and down the East Coast, roughly. And each one of those presentations, there were multi-facility contractors there at every one of them. I don't think, we definitely couldn't have said that 10 years ago, but now it's pretty much every stop, there's multi-facility folks. So who will win? Not just bigger contractors, those with repeatable systems and processes, leadership depth, and financial discipline. Those are the folks who are going to win the game here. So are you ready to capture the opportunity? All right. Network 2.0 is not just changing FedEx's network. It's also exposing which contractors are ready or not to build an enterprise. It looks like, folks, that's where they want to go in the future. Okay. So do you have any questions out there? Ken can walk us through.
Yeah, we had a good comment and it's in the chat. And it just said, die with your boots on is not a good exit strategy. From the old wise one, Stevie Crawford. Yes, and we appreciate that. I think there's some stuff to support what Jeff's saying about multi-facilities. I mean, think of all the name changes that contractor relations has been put through. It was contractor relations and it was business development. Oh, because they were looking for people from the outside to take over these open areas. Well, they realized they don't do so well at this. So who does well at it is successful contractors. And oh, lo and behold, service provider support, SPS. Now it is the name because they're there to support you, and as are we to help you grow into that multi-facility owner. So I think that definitely supports what Jeff's saying, but it's not easy. It can be done if you have the right tools, the right systems in place. If you don't, you're going to be pulling your hair out. Do we have any other questions out there or any comments? I'm sure the volume was challenging today. I think the volume should remain steady this month. And as we move into June and as July starts to hit, just please remember at the end of June, you'll see a lot of inventory picking up because retailers have gone to July and Christmas sales. So expect the volume to build all through June, but this being the last week of the month should be heavy on pickups, which means next week we're going to be heavy on deliveries, which hopefully means we get back over 100 stops per dispatch because that kind of makes me smile a little bit. So I don't have anything else. Jeff, anything else?
No, sir.
All right. We will be back here next Tuesday again. So if we don't talk to you before then, please have a safe and profitable week. Thank you very much.